I'm waiting for. Hi, everybody. StellaRoseAllDay. We are doing a special live tonight. I am waiting for my guest to join. Okay. I'm just waiting for my guest to join the live. Today we have a special guest for everybody. This is going to be a big treat. We're going to do a live chat tonight. Just waiting on my guest to join. This is going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this. I have some questions. I have some questions written out. Let me just make sure that I'm waiting for my guest to join. Hold on. Hold on. Waiting on my guest. Let me check on my guest. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, she should be on in 1 minute. We're gonna do a live chat, but I'm gonna wait to do any questions until after she channels. And I put her information in the description box. And just a disclosure that this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay. And Linda has been a psychic medium for 47 years. So a very long time. Tonight is a very special treat because she is going to channel Aaron Carter, which I know a lot of people would really enjoy that. I know I am going to enjoy that. But I know she's not used to doing like YouTubes. So that's why it's taking a minute for her to log on. But I know you're going to have fun with this. I know I'm going to have fun with this too. So just remember to be nice. Otherwise, I'm going to turn the chat off. Here we go. Hi,
Hi, Stella. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I just got home running around like a chicken with no head, and I want to thank you for inviting me onto your show.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This is a big treat for all the fans because you're an authentic psychic medium, and I know that it's going to be a big treat for everybody. So, I'm so excited. I'm going to let you basically run the show and, go ahead and do your channeling. I do have some questions that I would like to, if I can answer after you're done channeling or whatever. And then I thought maybe we would go into some of the questions for, like some of the questions maybe some of the fans have about
Sure.
Aaron. But it's a big treat to have you. So thank you so much. And I did a little disclosure that this is for entertainment purposes only. So, you know,
Oh,
I just always
well,
throw that out there.
well, thank you for having me on your show. We've talked previously because you've called in many times into my show that we've had in the past, and I've given you some guidance on regarding your father coming through, which is so cute. I'm seeing him holding like a little candy bar, saying she treats me once.
I do because he loves Snickers bars. And so I buy them, I do that for him. But, he was diabetic. So,
Well, that's okay. On the other world, we they have uh, no issues at all. They can eat
nothing.
all the candy they want. And I'm telling you, as a diabetic, when I cross over, the first thing I'm going to hit is the sugar department, like the Willy Wonka factory. Give me everything, you guys, and load it up double on the chocolate.
Okay.
So,
I'll make sure I save some more candy for my dad. Hi, Dad. Oh,
if it's me or you.
I'm trying not to move, but like something just flew off the table. So that must have been my dad.
Oh yeah, that's the energy they give. And sometimes when I do lives, I do have problems with the connections because again, everything goes through energy, the field, and the portals that I open always create sometimes a little problem for me. And using electronics, trust me. But anyway, for your audience that uh, don't know much about me, my name is Linda Caraballoo. I've been a practicing medium for 48 years. I was born with this gift. I believe I've had it since I was younger. Um, I channel a lot of our loved ones on the other side and also ascendant masters. I've channeled just last Saturday. I channeled one very powerful for a lady. It was so beautiful that read. Um, I am audio visual. I also, like I did with Stella, right?
It
I
was
do.
funny. It's funny that you mentioned that though, because let me just tell you a funny story about that. When I used to work in the factory with him, when he owned when he was in charge of the factories, he
Uh-huh.
had, we had vending machines. And so, he would be like, can you go sneak me a candy bar, And I'd be like, yeah, I'll get you a candy bar, And he'd give me $100 bill. But you can't put that in a vending machine, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, of course I would, he'd give me $100 just to like get him a candy bar, you know what I mean? Because he was just being generous. But it's just funny because like he was just so kind hearted, and he had a heart of gold.
Yeah. And that's the way he comes through with a heart of gold and also always watching out for your health, your well being, and making sure that you have a good living environment around you at all times because that's what you need is a good living environment. Once you have that, you're able to open up more your gifts to your people I've that are on your show right now. I've done I do a lot of celebrity reads. I do reads for a lot of people on TV, news anchors, sports figures, singers, doctors, lawyers, judges, you name it. I do reads for them and everyday work of life people. All I can say is that I feel I'm the real deal because
Well,
Questions. It's so
I
beautiful.
mean, you know how I feel about that. I mean, judges might have the most to hide sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But,
And you'd be
you know,
surprised what comes out.
we're not here to convince anybody of your gifts. Like my
Exactly.
audience, they already know that, this is a big treat for them to have someone that is as talented as you are and as
Thank
established
you.
as you are, and you are very connected to Hollywood, to, come on, especially today, because I was just not in a good mood. But then when you offered to come on, and I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be the best, because obviously, Aaron had a huge fan base, and you know, you are authentic, and people know that you're authentic by your vibration.
Thank you. Thank you. So, with this situation with Mr. Aaron, the decedent that's that's passed, for his loved ones, it's very interesting because his loved ones need to hear messages from him. There's a lot, and I mean a lot, of things about his life be while he was here and his passing and what was going through his mind to create the scenario of what caused his death and who attributed to his passing. Yours is more about the what I
Right.
want to know. We want to close the chapter and just mourn the loss of our loved one, but every once in a while, the mother or the siblings that are alive still question many things, and it's very sad because this was a young up and coming singer when he began his career. To It's very sad how his demise was. And what's really interesting, um, I compare him a little bit to Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber is barely hanging on. That's what I feel when I see Justin Bieber. And I feel with Aaron, the abuse and what went on in his life, he just couldn't deal with it. Justin Bieber is trying his best to fight the the enemy within and the bigger picture from the outside of who he's surrounded, because in the industry it's not pretty. And it's really crazy in the sports industry. It's very similar to the Hollywood industries, so called. A lot of actors and actresses that have fallen prey to people who want to victimize them were able to escape, but at a price. And unfortunately, with Aaron, it came at a price. I feel his brother is somewhat surviving and trying to do his best. What's the brother's name?
So
I
his
see the
brother's name is Nick.
Nick. Yeah, there you go. You know what? I'm so busy with my, especially when I do a read for a celebrity or someone like a news anchor. I do a lot for news anchors. And it's so funny when I read for them, that's when I get the juicy stuff. I go, wow, really? That really does go on? And, you just stay in shock, but not shocked. But nevertheless, um, I see that you've really hit the nail on the head, so to speak, regarding your documentary and what you've put together. Some people will probably say, this is not true.
I mean, I did think about his mom when I was doing the documentaries, but at the same time, what I was really who I was really doing this for was Aaron. And I could not sit by and, allow them to sell a narrative about him that was completely false. And, because of my own experience that happened in my own life, it was a lot easier for me to be able to work his case. And you know, it's not my intention to like keep going over and over and over again to like keep opening up a wound for his mom.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it does protect his mom because I feel like if the fans and if I didn't, do all of this for almost 2 years, then she might not even have a chance at like like getting his inheritance. You know what I'm saying? So, but does he want to say something to his mom?
I feel that he not that I feel, I'm sorry. What I'm getting from him, actually, he's now coming closer in, and he's not skinny. He's kind of a well healthier person. He's tall because I see a tall young man, well, taller than me. And for some reason, I don't see tats on him at all.
Okay.
I see that gone from the body, and I guess he used to have tats because he's saying to his mom, "I'm clean of this," and it's referencing to the markings on the body. So that's tattoos. And he really comes and also says, "I left my brother in a bad light," and he's referencing to Nick.
Okay.
But he also says that with my sister. Does he have a sister?
Okay, so he has a twin sister that's still alive, and then two
Okay.
of his sisters are on the other side.
Okay, he's talking about the one that's alive.
Okay, that's his twin sister Angel.
Okay, I didn't even know that. He mentioned sister, and he also says I was out of control when I should have been in control. I should have stood one path, but I went the other path. I guess she tried to stop him from doing certain things, but he was just at the end. He just spiraled. He says he goes like this. I was very crazy. He goes like this, crazy. I'm crazy. I'm crazy. And
Because
and
they
he does
made
this.
him crazy.
Yeah, he says I was crazy. I'm not. He goes. He goes like this. A lot of this and points. He says to his brother that he should have been more cautious around certain people, and that his brother should have been more cautious of people who he surrounded his brother with. Like the older brother should have been taking better care of the younger brother and who he exposed his younger brother to.
Okay.
Right.
What
And he
was
said
not right?
a lot of them were not right. Like they enjoyed the fact that he was drinking. Because I get a lot of alcohol. I get some type of drug. Um, the one that takes you out fast. He says it was fast. So I don't know. Did they find him with some drugs in his system?
Okay, so what the autopsy report says and then what really happened are two different things. So there is a person that confessed to giving him bad drugs, okay? And
Yeah.
so from my understanding, he was shot 3 times with fentanyl, one time under his armpit and then 2 times in between his toes. And so he was forced to overdose. And there has been somebody who did confess to overdosing him. And he said the
So
bad drugs.
yeah, bad drugs. Bad drugs. It like bad drugs is like it could be a heroin, fentanyl, a mixture like combos. He says he liked the combos, and he says, and I used to go where they pressed. So I don't know pressing. He says they're pressing. So I don't know if he saw where they manufactured this drug because I see pressing.
Ooh. I've never even
So
heard of that before.
no, he's saying
So
he
he
says
actually seen them make it.
yeah, like how they pressed it. He says pressed. So I don't understand what pressing is because I'm not exposed to drugs.
No, I don't know,
But
me neither.
this is, and then he said I put it in a yellow bowl. So he's referencing to a yellow bowl. I don't know what a yellow bowl means. I don't know if it's a pipe or something with pipe, or he had a bowl that was yellow. I'm gonna write that down. A yellow bowl.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna write it down. Yellow bowl. This is very interesting. He says that his mom hurts the most and doesn't know what to believe.
Okay.
He says his brother does, but tries to push it aside, like saying, "Oh, you you went that way." Or you pushed yourself that way. Like you should have more control. You should have taken more control of yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but in the situation that happened to him, it was a trap. So they trapped him. So I've said many times that Aaron might have done some screwed up things, but he wasn't a screw up, okay? And so, with the work that I've done on his case, that was a trap homicide. So he wasn't going to get out of that situation. Um,
Again,
th-
it, that's what I said in the very beginning. Remember, I said that the brother should have protected him who he was around, and then he didn't protect himself who he was around, and he was exposed to to the worst of worst in Hollywood towards the end.
mhm.
Do you understand? He says, oh, and then also he says to tell his mom, I sing like the church, like you always wanted. Something
Oh,
about I'm
that's so
I sing
sweet.
like the church that she always wanted. So I don't know if he sang in church, started in church, but something with church. And I'm
Okay.
writing that down. That's pretty nice. He he's also saying
Yeah. So his
something with an I know it's framed, and he's excited about the framing of these items.
Well, so the problem, one of the issues is his ex girlfriend that he was broken up with had what it appears to be a side deal with the sheriff's office. So after they unalived Aaron, the sheriff actually allowed this person and another person by the name of Angel Hawansky and a bunch of other probably gang members into the home that ransacked his house and stole his items. So there are missing items. Some of them were returned and then auctioned off. But, I've asked people to return the items to his mom because she's the rightful heir. But you have people that they stole from him, so I don't know where all of his items are. I think they came up with like 800 items at the estate sale, but there's still items that are missing.
There's, when you, one thing about estate sales, people don't understand that when you go to an estate sale, that belonged to someone that had passed. And there's attachment to those items.
Hmm.
And unless they gave permission to the family to sell, which a lot of them don't go to mediums or psychics or other methods to obtain information about how to dispose of the personal items of the beloved decedent. He's talking about a specific item. I don't know if it's a record, but I know it's framed and it meant a lot to him. So wherever that item goes, he's going to be attached to it too.
So does he haunt anybody that did him wrong?
No, he's not. He doesn't come as that type of spirit. He comes, no, that guy, look at him, whatever I don't know how he was before he passed. Um, but he wants his family to know that he's at peace and that he's crossed over happy. He's
Mhm.
happy because he's free of what chased him, like this monkey on the back, so to speak.
What is
He
he?
goes to a house. He does go to a house. And I don't know if this is your house or somebody's house. And we don't have someone go to this house where there's a square table and there's a pretty figure. It's a big long square table and it's a big long figurine in the middle or some type of a bowl shaped object. He says the house is flat. The weather's hot where this house is at because the air conditioner. You hear it clicking on like a that sound. And he says, I always wanted to come, but they never allowed me to be there. The mother lived.
So the mom does live in Florida. So that would make sense with the air conditioning all the time. I mean, that's not my house because I mean, even though I do run the air conditioning all the time, I don't have anything like on my table that's big like that. So that might be the mom's house.
Yeah, I get the air conditioning on. I also see like a sliding door. I don't know if there's dogs in the home because I hear patter. I
That's the
I
mom's house. The
I
mom's
get
house has the
okay.
sliding door with the dogs in the back.
And I'm also picking up pictures. There's like either a wall of pictures or no, it's like a wall of pictures of this child from this to this, from this to this. So it's a mom who's very proud of her children, but she got pushed to the side as they reached a certain level. So I think it's about their careers. But he wants her to remember him. I'd say when he was like around 16 or 17. Was he singing with a band at that time?
So what happened was is like he started singing when he was like 6 years old.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then when he was about 9 years old, he started opening for his brother's band, the Backstreet Boys, and also Britney Spears.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the age of 11 years old, he claims that his manager, who's also his brother's manager currently, sexually assaulted him, and the mom fired her on the set of Jay Leno, and then his career he kind of got pushed aside, and then but he was still in like he was still in with the crowd, I guess you could say. But then when he turned 15 years old, he had stated that Michael Jackson was inappropriate with him, and it was right after that, or right around September 11th, that him and Michael had that falling out. And then after that he was kind of pushed aside and shunned, and then from then on he was just kept trying to reinvent himself. But
He
because
did
he
have, I get, he said, this is what he said, but I put a song out.
oh, he kept singing up until the day he died.
Okay, but he said he put a song out. Do you know what song he's referencing to?
About Michael Jackson.
No, I don't know.
He did a lot of good songs. I mean, he had several albums, especially like
Hmm.
the problem is that he never got any radio time, because the manager was held a vendetta against the mom and Aaron because she got fired, and basically from what it looks like to me, just made his life a living, you know, a, it was terrible. He just never recovered after sticking up for himself, and it just got progressively worse from after he was 15 years old.
So that makes sense. This makes some sense to me. What makes sense to me, he says in the beginning of the people who was around him, they didn't protect him with, in other
Right.
words, people that were around him. Remember in the beginning, he says the people that that the older brother or others should have known, keep me away from these bad people.
I agree with Aaron because if it is true that Lori Knight molested Aaron when he was 11 years old, why did the brother stay with that manager and still has that manager till this day? That is completely wrong.
It is completely wrong. And also, I believe this man, you know that song, and he keeps, he's putting this song in my head. You know that song from George Michael and Teacher? You taught me to
Yeah.
cry, the words in there. I believe when I channeled George Michael one time, he was referencing to his sexuality.
Hmm.
And I think in this situation with Aaron, I'm getting the same thing. These people wanted to, like, to
Groom
take,
him.
yeah, groom him into uh being gay. This is what I'm getting. And this young man was not that way. And for the brother's preference, I think that's where was the blowout. Constant, because I see constant um fighting and pointing fingers. Everybody and his family does this. Well, this is your fault, and this is your fault. If you want to know why I'm like this, he says, Justin Bieber and him,
Yeah.
that I get them similar. They kind of like look a little bit alike. What's interesting here is that what's interesting here in this scenario, I believe they wanted him to do the same, like with these Diddy situations, because I think Diddy knows a lot about, also with Aaron. I think there's something connected there with
Come here.
what's being said to me, but I don't know if it's, well, I'm going to say it, but you got to be careful because everybody and their mom want to sue you if you don't. But I feel there's
Well,
something.
this is for entertainment purposes only. We're not saying this is actually what happened. This is just your opinion of channeling Aaron's energy. Come here, Cupid.
Well, what I'm picking up, that there's some type of connection with all. I get young Hollywood singers and actresses were facing a group of people who wanted to just get at them, especially when they're young and they're not being I got to eat something because I'm a diabetic.
Yes.
And I just jumped on. So to your audiences, I apologize. I'm eating
No.
chicken. I'm eating a chicken nugget, and I'm not supposed to be eating any of this stuff. But nevertheless, here I go. The bad is still out there. That's what is her fault because she blames herself a lot.
The mom,
Yes.
the mom blames herself a lot for, well, because she's had so many tragedies, because three of her children have passed. So that's, I mean, everybody has free will, so
Hmm.
um I know she probably does feel some amount of guilt, but you can't live your life that way. She did
Hmm.
give them life, and they did have a life, and Aaron's life, even though it was short, he did see a lot of things and became a lot of things and reached a lot of stardom and fame and heights. It was just, unfortunate that he was treated the way that he was in the industry, because he didn't go along with them sex trafficking him or grooming.
Exactly. That's exactly what he's saying. I didn't want to fit into that mold because I'm not that mold. I am myself. I am free. I am who I am. And his brother fell into the mold.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up the brother, because recently, like, after I, like, when I was getting ready to close up the documentary and things like that, just because, like,
Mhm.
anyway, I kept feeling about the brother, and a feeling I had about the brother was that, because they can't hide the fact that there was foul play that was involved in Aaron's death, even though they were trying to skirt the issue. Um, does he know, or can he tell you, were they planning on blaming the brother for his death, or do they plan on? There's something about the brother that I keep feeling that I can't put my finger on it.
The brother, what I get from him, I don't know if he's still singing or doing what he's doing. He says that his brother kind of like pushed him to the side a long time ago.
Right.
I don't know if that's true. He said his brother pushed him to the side a long time ago. He wasn't the brother when I was little that I looked up to, that I met, that I admired. He said that went away and that hurt him. And it hurt him that he went through abuse. But I'm going to tell you something, that man was not the first man. There was somebody else that abused this guy.
Yeah, so basically, I think that from what I know, the first time that he was sexually assaulted was by his first backup dancers, and they were twin boys, and that was the first instance that he said that he was abused
Hmm.
professionally, was the backup dancers. But does he were they planning on setting the brother up to take the fall? Because ever since the brother has been sued in three different states by multiple women for sexual assault, he has been out of the country. Nobody hears from him. I mean, he's singing like in Romania. You know what I mean? We're like, nobody,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. I get that of these women that are suing Nick, he's saying that a lot of it is false. Some
really?
of it is true. He says some of it is true and some of it is false.
Well, that's why they're in a court of law.
Yeah. He says that that's what's. Hold on. He says his brother is actually going to come out okay on the cases because it's flawed. There's something flawed in this case. He says my brother has an aggressive attitude, always has. like
Okay.
a bullyish attitude. He says, my brother always bullied me.
He did.
He said, my brother always bullied me. And he always got, oh, and he says, my brother lies a lot.
I
He
believe
said that.
that.
He says, my brother lies a lot. My brother didn't tell the truth. So they already went and talked to him. There's police that went to him and talked with him. And he said,
I'm
my brother
aware.
lied. He said, my brother lied.
Mm. About Aaron's death or about the sexual assault or both?
Mm, he said, Aaron defended the man. That Eric
That's
defended that Nick. I'm sorry, Nick defended the man, and kind of like said, my mom ruined my career.
so I think you're talking about Lou Pearlman, who
I don't know who
was
he is.
that was a manager before Lori Knight came in, and
Hmm.
they claim that Lou Pearlman had some kind of sexual assault going on with the members of the Backstreet Boys. But
Hmm.
it was like ever since that manager, Lori Knight, came into the picture, she drove the wedge between what it appears between Jane and everybody else. Like
Yeah.
basically, like Nick and his twin Aaron's twin Angel went one way with that manager, and then
Yeah.
who didn't go with her got the short end of the stick. But
Yeah.
I'm I'm concerned that they were trying to set the brother up to take the fall for his death.
He says no.
No? Okay.
What he says is, my brother lies. They caused me more harm in everything that I wanted to do. They were constantly telling me to shut up,
That sounds about right.
to be quiet. And he said he had enough. And like, almost like his brother drove him to drugs. Like they used to do things together at one time.
Okay.
But the guy, the older one, cleaned up. It's like I don't want to have part of that, but he still has part of it. It's he says, well, I don't want to be part of that, but I'll be part.
Every once in a while he'll partake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um what does he say about his ex-girlfriend and the part she played in his death?
He said she was he hold on. He says that she was only with me,
Right. Yeah, that sounds about
but I
right.
didn't trust. He said I didn't trust her because I caught her with different men.
Right.
Is that
Uh,
true?
yeah, she actually admitted that she cheated on him many times. But like
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that the fans wanted to know that I could never get a clear answer on, but I know
Mm-hmm.
Aaron would know this. Did okay, so the baby that she claims is his baby is not his baby. Okay, we've established that. Aaron has already said that it was not his biological son. But did Melanie actually carry the baby? Like, was she pregnant, or was her sister the one that carried the baby? That's something the fans wanted to know.
Does Aaron have a child?
Well, Aaron claims that he had a son by the name of Bentley and two girls, but not the baby that the by the ex fiance. He said
I
that that
get
wasn't his.
I get one for sure, and it's a girl.
Right? Okay.
I get one for sure, it's a girl. The second one, he says the boy is his.
Which boy? Because there's two. There's Bentley. Bentley, he did say was his,
I
but
get
he's
that one is his. There's a girl
Bentley.
that's his. The boy with the B, Ben, not Bentley. Did he call him Benny or Benny or Beanie?
He called him Bentley, but he's actually Aaron Jr., but uh, Aaron calls him Bentley. And so I believe that Bentley is his. There's
No,
one.
Bentley. He says Bentley is definitely mine for sure.
Okay.
He said there was a breakup between who has the A name? No, that's
He-
Aaron.
Okay, there's a girl by the name of Aubrey O'Day, and he dated her briefly, and she's connected to Diddy.
He says if this lady with the A says no, who's the Ashley or Ash?
So it's um so I believe the one girl, her name is like Audriana or Aubriana, the one daughter. So they claim that his assistant, that what's his assistant's name? I can't think what is, do you guys know who let me see. Hold on. Do you remember, hold on one second. Do you remember what Aaron's assistant's name was? Um Gwen. Her name was Gwen. That's it. So Gwen had a daughter by the name of Audriana or Ariana or Aubriana, and they think that that was Aaron's daughter.
That's the second daughter?
Yeah.
No.
So two women. One woman said that she had a daughter with Aaron, but
The
the
boy
that
is a definitely.
yeah,
And
Bentley.
okay, Ashley is an individual that was around him a lot. I don't
So
know. It could.
there was an Ashley who, when they lived in Marathon, when they lived in Florida, there was a girl by the name of Ashley that had sexual relations with Aaron and with Nick, and she's currently suing Nick in a sexual assault lawsuit.
She did. He said that she had more sex with me, and it would be rare with Nick.
Okay.
And hold on, but I didn't have no babies with her.
Okay. But
He said I had no babies with her, and he says who I'm hearing another name. He's giving me another name. Is I hear it S.A. for sure. What's the name of the second daughter that it alleges to be his?
I don't know. I don't know. I only know that the mom's name was
Okay, what is the
Crystal.
mom's names?
Crystal Crystal Colgan. I have it written down. It's Crystal Colgan.
And what is the other one? You don't
Gwen.
know the Gwen?
Gwen. Yeah. But
I don't
Gwen's
get
daughter
Gwen.
does look like Aaron.
Um, I'm not getting so much Gwen. It's like I want to X these two ladies out because
Okay.
there's somebody else.
Okay, so the both of those allegedly both like the Crystal's daughter was adopted out. So like
Uh-huh.
that apparently would not that X's out any kind of claim to
Hmm.
the estate. And then the
Okay.
second one that's alleged has a dad. So they don't pursue that for whatever reason. But the girlfriend that said that she had a baby with Aaron, that DNA surfaced that it wasn't Aaron's child, okay, but it was actually his
Hmm.
friend and former manager Taylor Helgeson, who fathered the child. Which they had the child, so they had a way to kind of extort money or Aaron's estate through the child. Okay. So did Melanie carry that baby or did the sister Jennifer carry the baby?
He's telling me neither.
Really?
And you know one thing that he says? He says there's one with pretty eyes. He says pretty eyes is not mine. Do you have a picture of one of them? He says pretty eyes is not mine because he must have been introduced to one of the little girls. But he says pretty eyes is not mine, but Benny or Ben, whatever, Ben Bentley,
Bentley.
he says that is my true son. With he says that's my true son.
So what does he say about the I call the baby Prance because it's his name is Prince. What does he say about that illegitimate child trying to be passed off as his?
He says no. And we could go to my pendulum to even verify.
I mean, I've seen the DNA. I know for sure it's not his. I just wanted to find
Okay.
out what
Yeah,
he
he
thought
keeps
about
saying
it.
no. No, it's not his. And you just said it after I said no, and I feel a no. And you said you saw the DNA. It's a no. But he confirms the other one with 100%.
Yeah,
Bentley.
I've seen a picture of Bentley and it's like Aaron's spitting image, like for
Mm-hmm.
real, you know. Can he tell us anything about about Jennifer's involvement? That's his ex-girlfriend Melanie's half sister. I know it's very Jerry Springer with these people, but so they're it is. I know. It's just
You know
very,
what
very
he says? He's, you know what? He's almost ashamed of he. When you mention it, he stands like this. He
I
stands
know.
like this, with like the shoulders up, and he goes like he's ashamed because
I
he
feel it.
did he do acting?
Yes.
He said he wanted to pursue that a lot. He liked it. But can I ask you something?
Sure.
Because he has his head down. Did they think he was just going to be a stupid kid and that they could pass him around like a stupid kid?
Yeah. They abused him to keep him confused, and if he tried to stand in his power and speak his truth, they they made him crazy. They wanted him confused so they could continue to abuse him. And I agree with Aaron that the people, especially Melanie, they're very, very, very low vibrational. And it's not even because she's a prostitute, okay? I understand that, like, hey, sex workers, it's the oldest profession. It's just the fact that, like, she literally thinks about how she can scam people every day, all day long. Like, he was dead in the closet, and she went and took his wallet out of his coat and then went and bought a purse at Louis Vuitton the next day. And on his credit card, knowing that he was dead in the closet. So, like, basically pure evil, no soul, you know what I mean? And just completely gutter rat trash. I mean, the
Well,
worst of the worst of the
that's why
worst.
he says he's ashamed. He's ashamed, but he was this young guy. You know that song, and I don't know why I think of him and I think of Justin Bieber. I think of him and I think of Justin Bieber. I've only seen like maybe two or three pictures. I don't even know much of this guy, but for some reason, they're Justin is trying to get out of what they did to him, and he is a complete um what is the word I want to say? Like, look what they did to him. This is what This is what they did. They took. He says they stole. He said they stole me. They stole my innocence. He goes like that. He hits. He goes. He says, "Look, they they took it away from me. They stole my innocence." And it's more like this hand. He goes, "They stole me. They stole me. They took away. They shouldn't have done that to me. I was a little boy. I was a little boy. I cried, but they told me to shut up." So there's more than one person in the room watching all of this.
Okay, right.
Nick, hold on. You saw. He says you saw and you did nothing. Oh my God, I'm getting chills. He says you saw, Nick. You saw. He's yelling at his brother right now. You saw, Nick. You saw. You saw what they did to me. Why did you? Why didn't you? Why didn't you? You laughed at me.
The story was is that Nick left him at the Neverland Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Left him there, okay? And that was the night that there was an incident with Michael Jackson in his bedroom. And so what Aaron said was is that Justin Bieber was his replacement because when
Ah, that's
yeah,
why I keep seeing the two.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so they used to bring Aaron to Canada when he was a minor because the child labor laws were more lenient. So that's why when they decided to replace Aaron, they got somebody from Canada. But what's interesting is going through and maybe Aaron can clarify this, working through his documentary, Canada, there's two countries. Well, there's Canada, Australia, and Germany, okay? But Canada seems to be a very prominent like international tie to like his unaliving and also like money transfers in and out of Canada. You know what I'm saying? Can he tell us anything about that?
He said that the money that he made, it was always taken from him and he was only left like a third, like
Yeah, well,
almost a third. He says okay, he says, okay, Linda, I would make $100 and I would be lucky to get $20. That's how he explains it. And then he says, but they moved. move things around because they didn't have to pay the tax. They didn't have to pay government. That's what he says.
The record company,
I don't know.
but
He
there
talks about
was.
he talks about his money. That money was paid like above board and not above board.
Mhm.
Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand that.
But to screw him over, he said, I always had to report mine, and people took money on the side and didn't report theirs. So I think he's talking about maybe taxes or something like that.
Yeah, like tax evasion.
I yeah.
But there's been finances that have still been going on past his death in and out of Canada. I just wanted to know if he could talk about that at all.
He says they're using my name, but it's not my money. That they're doing that, and it's all with drug trade.
Hmm.
He says they're using my name, but it has to do like maybe he says drug trade, not drug trade.
Drug trafficking,
Laundering.
money laundering.
Yeah.
Money laundering. Yeah, Canada and also Australia, and also to know
So
that they were
yeah,
using his name.
yeah. They're using his name for that.
Hmm.
You know what?
Yes.
Another thing he said. He says, "Can you tell Stella that I'm sorry that you cried a couple of times when you were hearing things about me?"
Okay, I know what he's talking about. It was one day, well, I did cry a couple of times, but one day I had an and it wasn't too long ago, and I was like yelling. I know exactly. You're fine, Aaron, but like it came as a shock, and I don't know. I think like you get so close and so wrapped up in things that like when you hear something here or there, it's just like because the gang that surrounded him are they're crazy. These people are absolutely insane, okay? And so you hear so much stuff and you have to filter it out, but thank you for saying that, Aaron. It's fine. Like is he happy with the work that I did on his documentaries?
He said yes. A couple of times. He says, "I, I want this to be said about me." This is what he says. What I wanted, what I set out to do, I feel at the end I failed. I failed everybody.
Aw.
He says, I was, he says, I feel my life was cut short. I walked around confused. I, I used drugs to numb, like to phase out, not to be. He always wanted, it was like, you know, if you take away the drugs from this kid, okay? Well, he's a young guy when he passed, so I'm gonna say kid.
I say kid too.
Okay, when you take the drugs away from this guy, you had a child that was still under a lot, or not, well, a child and a young man and a grown man, a young adult and then a grown man who would have, no matter what, taken some type of medication or other ways to medicate because since I want to say since the age of 10, 11, even 15, 16, going through those years from, I want to say from even 9 and going on up, he said he would have never been able to have a decent life because of his brother. People who were around him, they were like wolves in the waiting. Does that
Yep.
make sense?
Yep, that's what it
Wolves.
seems like.
wolves in the waiting that, okay, if I was a up and coming singer or new whatever those people in that genre do, he said I would have always faced to having to give and pay out. In other words, to reach level B, I had to do certain things at level A. This is what he says. If I didn't do this, they didn't give me this. If I didn't do this, they didn't give me this. So, oh, you want to be on the Britney Spears show? Yeah, I do. I'm excited. I'm going to use my talent. And then here comes the bad. Do you understand what that bad is? He says. And then here came
Yeah.
the darkness. And then he says, and then I wanted to be with my brother. Nicky. That's my brother. And he doesn't say the K. When he says Nick, he says Nick, like with the NIC. Okay?
Okay.
And it's like he would come at his brother. So I don't know if they had fights because I see
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, they
Okay, I
did.
see him like you, you. He does this like you. You should have. He blames them like you were my babysitter and you should have known better and you threw me to the wolves. You threw me to the wolves. This is his mentality. I mean, I want to cry, literally cry because think about
I I
a
know.
young
I
man
know.
being sexually abused and
Yep.
all he wanted to do was sing.
Yep.
He wanted to sing. He wanted to be an actor. His ambitions were if you didn't do this, you weren't going to get this.
That's right. So one of the one of the things that just came up recently was, obviously about P. Diddy and connections between Aaron Carter and P. Diddy. Did P. Diddy have any hand in his death? Did he like order the hit? Or was it have anything to do with Aubrey O'Day or any kind of sexual assault with P. Diddy?
Parties, yes. He says, party, yes. The supplier, him.
That P.
That's
Diddy
how he
was the
made.
supplier.
This is what he says. I'm only going to quote. I cannot, again, we got to be careful here. But this is what I'm seeing. Okay, when you're working, and again, he refers it to me like this. He I mean, he's a good singer and somewhat a good actor, little actor, but he wasn't 100% smart, like with education, school, and stuff like that. So he gives me, another way of how he talked. But let's say I'm the drug dealer and I know you have a good job and you like this because we got you hooked on it. So I know where my source of money is going to come. So anybody who's on the drug train, this guy was also the provider of it. You get what I'm saying? So pass it on to the little people out there that are selling and distributing on behalf of the main guy. It's all. It's all. It's it's all. He says it's bigger than what you think.
It's bigger than what we think. So, what I was told earlier today is that there's a woman who has a videotape with Aaron and P. Diddy, and it's taped underneath a drawer in the of a desk, okay? That there's substantial evidence that connects P. Diddy with Aaron. And hopefully it's gonna come out. So he's confirming that. Is he
Yes.
confirming that that exists? Okay. And
That and
so,
he says to several others. He says my brother should be ashamed. He says my brother should be ashamed. He says they didn't like so much the little, oh my god, he says they didn't like so much the black little boys. They liked more the white little boys and the white little girls. If that's true, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I was told that there were the information that I got today about Aaron and P. Diddy and the videotape is that there were three women, okay? And also there were other deaths that people will probably never hear about, okay, that involve that. But it's a very sticky situation, and because it's under investigation and stuff like that, and I kind of just tend to stick more towards his death. But and I don't want to keep you for like a really long time because I know this is very draining for you, but
No,
I
it's okay. It's okay. I could give you about another 20 minutes. Um,
okay.
so that'd be cool. I just ate my chicken nuggets, so it controlled me.
Thank you.
So
And
I have, you know what, Stella, this is, hold on, because he says that regarding Diddy, that Diddy, it's like you caught um El Chapo.
ooh.
He says you guys caught the El Chapo, but the American one, so to speak. Like El Chapo was really, up there with, this and that, and Diddy was too, and that it's going to come out about the truth about the assets of his money and how he attained the money. It's about big sums of money that he passed through and others allowed it to happen. He says that it's going to be such a large, he says, hold on. He says, you wait, Stella, you wait, Linda, you wait, everybody that's listening. This is going to be so big. It's going to be, he says, bigger than life. It's going to be very big. He says, the people who you watched on TV screen, like movies,
Mm-hmm.
and the ones you trusted are the ones that you should have never trust.
Well, like Oprah, I'm not saying that Oprah's a part of it. I'm just saying, like, for example, like Oprah, for example, like Ellen, like how like Oprah would be like, and you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car, and would make the audience fall in love with her for like giving away all these gifts and like, but people don't think about the
He
fact that
says he says that Diddy wasn't about giving anything away. He says Diddy was about himself and that he didn't, he says he packed, meaning uh, uh, like guns, but not on him. They were accessible, or he says he had to hide so many dudes from making stupid mistakes. And he would send people with some money and say, "Okay, here, sign this," making papers, making like paper, like having them sign papers. He says I shouldn't have been at that party, but they made sure I had so they could have. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And I appreciate you being like cryptic because, YouTube, you know. Um does Aaron think that okay, so the one of the problems that I've recently had was that there was a very good investigator who was working on his case that all of a sudden is not alive anymore, and I don't want to say the person's name because they have children, and that is still under investigation. Okay, but the thing is I feel like the person that I was working with for almost 2 years to all of a sudden die was a gang related thing, that he was so close to, you know doing what we need done on Aaron's case, that they purposely took that detective out, and
He
if he
says,
can.
Aaron, this is what Aaron says. He says it was minds that opened the door to others that he knew of.
Okay, like open the door to his house when they ransacked him and like
No,
robbed him, or what are you talking about?
the person that died, the police officer, he
Okay.
says he's working on the Carter case, okay? And that Carter case is not closed.
Right. Thank
I
you.
didn't know that. He says that the Carter case is not, he says, my case,
Yep.
okay? And it's almost like they had to nickname it to avoid anybody getting into it because they
Okay.
felt there was a mole in the police department or the sheriff's department.
Right.
He says that there are molds in there that even do. Oh wow. Okay, that there's police officers that are moonlighting as under moonlighting as security guards,
Okay.
and they witness and they see what's going down, but they close their eyes. And so this guy is coming up on names. As he investigates, he comes up on a name. You hear what I'm saying? So
Yep.
that and it's like, and all the trail leads to who?
Lori Knight.
You get what I'm saying? A B
Yeah.
C boom. A B
Oh.
boom.
Oh, and you mean back in the homicide department?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, there's an internal affairs investigation going on, but like, does he see anything going on as far as like arrests or anything like that? I mean, he obviously can see things I can't see.
Well, he's on the other side. And he knows that there's books with his name, but there's a lot of other names under it. It's like a pie chart, like almost a is like here's his name, here's his name, here's his name, here's his name, because there's a lot of, and there's also women, and there's some deceased. There's hold on. He says she's with me here, and and it wasn't an accidental overdose. She has long brownish hair. What is her name? Did you
Alive,
come?
or are you talking
No,
about
she's
Monique?
passed.
Monique Figueroa? I
Is she
ran in,
dead?
yeah.
Okay, this lady's dead. Does she have long brownish hair?
She had brown hair that was like, like to here. I mean,
Yeah,
that's considered long if it's like
yeah,
past your
I
shoulder.
get brownish hair. Light to medium skin, like a little darker than mine.
Yeah, she was white and Hispanic. She was mixed.
Did she die of an overdose?
Okay, so Okay. What happened was it was another trap, is what it was. And so, like, I don't want to say who, okay, because I'm part of this investigation. But if he wants to tell us what happened, I found the remains, and they're still going through the process of bringing them up. And if he wants to tell us what happened to Monique, I mean, I can't say what I gave the
Mo. He
investigators.
says Mo.
Yeah,
Mo.
that was her
M-O.
nickname. Yeah.
Mo. He says Mo. She's with me. Another victim of this same. Another victim of the same.
So they forced her to overdose.
It's not that she just took too much. They gave her too much. They did too much. And where they threw her body and where they decided to do it, it was moved. It was in one location, then they moved it to another location. You know
That's
that.
that's what I found out. Yeah. But
Yeah.
like getting them to bring the remains up, they've been stalling, and I had to get people that were of higher authorities on it. And I don't know if they intentionally try to slow it down because they know that I'm aggressive, but I know where I told them where the remains are, that's exactly where the remains are. Now, when they're going to pull up the remains,
They're trying to contact the family.
okay.
You know what? He's she said the trail was leading, her voice is different. She says the trail will lead, she has a soft voice. She says the trail was leading to me, and then they, I don't know if there's mountain area and water nearby
Yeah, there's a creek nearby.
because I hear water
Yeah. So where they trapped her and where they unalived her was
in another
um
location.
right. And there was a creek nearby, and then they moved her body to the 11000 Pear Blossom Highway. And that's where she's buried. And then they covered it up to make it look like it was a car accident's victim. But is there anything that she could say that if this would reach her dad, or if this would reach her brother, that only they would know, like something that she would want them to know? Because when
She says the party I went to, I didn't give details or where she went out. It was like she was going with someone she that she had just recently met, but it was part of like the connect scene, how to connect. You get what I'm saying? Get to know you, whatever, and boom, you're in.
so I actually, yeah, I ran into Monique's case because of Aaron's case. And so I feel like, when I wrote the documentary, I put in about Monique because I was explaining how it's connected and the corruption and things like that. But it's, it's,
I have a question for you.
yes,
Do you know where Diddy has several houses?
yes, he's
Did you
got
know
two.
that?
Well, he's got three. Two are next to each other.
Right. But there's a like a third one somewheres. Where do you know where the third one might be?
Okay, so you mean in the country or out of the country? Because there's
Like
one
in
out of the country.
where was her body found?
Okay, so her
In
body was
California?
found. Well, the remains are in Pear Blossom, California. They still have
Okay.
to pull them up. I know where they are, but that's not an easy task to pull them up.
Now the question I have is this though. Pear Blossom is where they took her. But
Juni- Juniper Hills is where they unalived her, which it's all in a 7 mile radius.
it, okay, that's where I was going. And I kind of like drew a little thing here. A little square box here.
Okay.
And where you said she's saying the party was in this vicinity, which is where you're at, and then they took me here and then they took me there. Because I see like cactus, like don't go into this. There's spots that you cannot go into. Certain spots are like no like people pathways, more like a government only land or something like that. But she says, like, let's say Diddy owns a house in Malibu. I was in Malibu, but then they took me to Pear Blossom. Does that make sense?
Well, she
What I'm
told
trying to
her
say?
dad that she was going to Los Angeles to visit a friend, and that was the last that he's seen of her. And then she vanished. Nobody knows what happened to her after
That was
that.
the setup. That was the setup because you see, like I said, she didn't tell, she didn't give notes like, oh, I'm going to go to a party, I'm going to go this and that. And she goes and she meets up with the person, and it turns out to be not what she thought it was. And that's where
She
all
was
of a sudden
trapped.
her demise, she's trapped, her demise. And she says, where they did this to me, they waited and then they put me here, then they took me out of there, and then they put me here. Because I hear a creek, I see like not big giant mountains, but I don't see, like little.
It's the San Gabriel Mountains.
Okay. But where she was is not in the mountain, it's like lower. Do you understand where here's
Yes.
a mountain and here's the hills to the mountain? Like, oh, that's a
Yes.
hill. That's what I get. They didn't go up to a mountain. And yeah, and there's a creek. And I get that if they go even further up around there, they'll find another.
They'll find another woman
Yeah.
because there's another case connected to Monique's. So if they go up towards the mountain, they'll find her DNA. The other
If
woman.
they go further out, it's like a fork. Hold on. These these guys, because I see guys carrying the bodies. These guys are lazy. They're not gonna go up a mountain. It's like as far as the car will go and then dump. You get it? Like they could go up a mountain and then there's a turnoff where you pull over and dump it and let it roll all the way down to here, where it's almost impossible to get to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because the one guy, his name's John, said that, oh, it's real steep over there. You don't want to go over there because it's real steep over there. So
There you
that's,
go.
you don't want to go over there because there's probably another body over there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, can she tell you why the detective was so uncooperative on her? I mean, I have my reasons why I think. I just wanted to know if Monique could say why the detective was so uncooperative with her case the entire time.
He didn't care.
It's a female.
Well, she didn't care. But
Okay.
no, no, it's you say female?
Okay, well now there's a male on there too.
Okay. I get the man more than the female.
Okay.
And I get something like they're using their own bias. Like, what the hell are you doing? You should have known better, and look what happened to you. That's their bias of making a derogatory remark. And with that, it's not that they're going to close this case, it's going to go into the unsolved until one tags the other, but the one they need to tag is the one that's sitting behind bars. And some of these guys are in bars that already did that. Some are
Wow.
already in prison.
When do they think that their cases are going to have a resolution? Because like Aaron's fans, they they
Aaron,
can't believe.
Aaron says he says that the only thing in his case will be his name will be mentioned. But everybody, he says everybody knows how I died.
Mhm.
Okay? So, like, to them, the book is closed about his death, but they're looking for the supplier of this drug. They're looking for the source of that supply. In other words, they want to pull. In other words, I got. Let's say they found the guy that supplied the drug to Aaron.
They
Okay,
they do know who that is. That's Jovan Williams.
okay. So this guy is more like, I don't know if he got out of jail card easy or
He
he's
did.
not. Okay, because I get that he got out of jail easy. They needed to make it look like he did some time because
Yep.
he's a snitch right now.
Oh, he's a snitch right now.
He's a singing bird. Yeah, he says he's a singing bird, meaning he's setting up other people.
Great.
I don't know if he's on the police thing of what do you call those people that they hold in custody to
Informants
informants. He's an
for a
informant.
plea deal. Okay. And but I mean, the one thing is like everybody is really wanting his ex-girlfriend, who was a big part of all of this, to go down as an accessory to the crime. What does Aaron say about that?
He says that she gave them to him. She she also had them. Like, but it was like a fake. I'll take it and you take it, but he took it. Does it make sense?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, so what I was told was is that the person that confessed to unaliving Aaron also said that his girlfriend, him and his, so Jovan and Melanie were in on it together, and that Melanie actually bailed Jovan out of jail. And so Melanie is an accessory to the crime, and that the police know that Melanie lied because Melanie was there the night that Aaron died. But what's the holdup in why does she, like, I guess the fans are very confused on why
Because
she's
they,
not locked up.
I get this investigation, it's not closed in the
Right.
sense of those characters, of that guy, Jovan or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
It's not closed yet because you see, they need to get to that. Because they need to get to the head of the chain.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
it's like here's a chain to 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 a, and it's all about Hollywood and about the elites and
Yep.
about the suppliers and
Yes.
about, oh, you died, let's cover this up. It's like almost like with that guy that died, that from the Friends people.
Matthew Perry.
Yeah, that they got the doctor. But in this case, it's not a doctor writing these prescriptions, because with
Mm.
the prescriptions, they'll know exactly how to get to the doctor and who was the mover of it. That's an easy case for them. But for this type, underground drugs, illicit drugs, he says to get they gotta go to the main one. In other words, they need the nexus. They need to get to the main guy, and they do have them. He says they have them.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
there's
Diddy's not going to get out. He's never going to get out.
no Diddy, Diddy's in trouble, and there's others. Diddy did what he did. Diddy did what he did, but it was all about greed. This guy did that come out singing like, he was a thug from day one. That's what I get. This guy was a thug, made songs, made himself all this and that, came up and just said, you know what, you people, you could do whatever you're going to do. But he turned around and made things happen in a negative way for a lot of people. So once they go through he says, Linda, once they go through the friends and family network, they're going to realize how many people died because of him. But that has to go, no detective is going to believe, oh, what we're saying now, you know?
Oh, I
Um,
know. I know.
you know,
I, you, I, I totally understand what you're saying. I get it, but like the fans don't get it. That's why it's so
you know
great
what,
that you're
to the
willing to say
fans,
this.
yes. Let me give you an example, a prime example. There's a case of a young boy, and you can look it up, Duke Flores. I believe this happened 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't remember the date of his passing. I believe his birthday was around the month of April. Duke Flores, I think he was 6 years old, a little boy, lived in a garage with his mother and her twin sister, or her sister. I don't think they were twins, but her sister. And I believe there was another child. So these two got high. I'm going to tell you what I saw. These two got high, so high that the boy was crying that he needed something, and the aunt hit him so hard that literally twisted this kid's neck. The
Oh,
mother comes and strangles him.
no.
Then, when they realized that he was dead, they hid his body behind the bed, wrapped him in a blanket. I believe it was a SpongeBob blanket, because the little boy told me it was his SpongeBob blanket. When it was time, they carried his body into the neighbor's yard, buried him there, covered him up, and then I asked Aaron, I mean, not Aaron, Duke, Duke, where are you? Because he was passing, they were looking for his body. He said they buried me where the dogs were, but the dogs were trying to help him to get out. So the dogs were growling and trying to save, digging the little boy's grave. Then when the mother saw that the dogs were starting to dig at the grave and howl, like the dog sensed what happened to this little boy, and they were digging him out. They dig him out of the grave. Then they hid him again in the house. Then the mother I said that the mother had him up and down the street. She did. She put the body in a wagon, and she was in a wagon trying to find a place to dump his body.
Wow.
They went to a ravine because he says I was where like I heard a car like freeway, and down below is like ravine and stuff, but they chose not to. At the end, um, I kept saying he was in the trash. He was in the trash. So the two mothers, I mean the mother and her sister, they get arrested, and they couldn't find Duke's body. Well, the reason why they couldn't find Duke's body is because he was in a big old in the trash. Where's what do you call it when they take all the trash?
Like a landfill?
A landfill. So when he kept saying I'm around trash, it was the landfill. So how I'm very close to this story is because an employee, her that works with me, her sister is friends with one of the women who know of me, and they know I'm a medium, and they knew that she was going to come to me to find out where's Duke because they played it off that somebody kidnapped Duke. So I told her everything what happened, how they used a wire to choke him, and how they dragged him around. So she goes to the jail and she says, I went to Linda. And she starts telling her, the lady that's in jail, well, Linda said this and this. And that she started to cry and she said, don't say no more, but just tell Linda and the family she's right.
Listen, Linda, let me tell you something, okay? What
Hmm.
I I'm going to share something with the audience, okay? So, after my dad passed away, I and my followers know this, like I was a complete zombie, okay? But my dad told me where he wanted his ashes spread, okay? But I never told anybody what he told me because, yeah, and I'm not going to say it, okay? But because it was like odd, okay? It was like something like when he said it, I was like, for real? That's okay. So I went with my friend one day. We went to this Christmas fair outside, and it was literally the spot where it was being held where I spread some of my dad's ashes, not all of them, okay? And I kid you not that I was standing there and I just got there like 2 seconds, and Linda texts me, "Your dad your dad is with you right now." And I almost dropped my phone because it was like nobody would have known that's where I put his ashes because I didn't tell anybody where I put them. Okay. And you texted me right when I walked up to the spot. And I was freaked out because, I mean, what the chances of that happening, I mean, because I really don't talk to you very often, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think I haven't even talked to you in maybe like 2 years. But that day, it was like, so, I mean, I, if there's anything else that you want to say, I put your information on how people can connect with you. Linda is on TikTok, and it's Linda dot Caraballoo, Caraballoo. If you want to reach out and get a personal reading with Linda, she can be reached at area code 562-659-5103. You can also email her at lcara56 at yahoo.com. follow her on TikTok, Linda.Caraballoo. It's in for her information is in the description. And I want to thank you for being with us tonight. Thank Mo for being with us tonight. Thank Aaron for being with us tonight. Is there any messages that Aaron wants to say to any fan in particular? He
I
had
don't know. Do you have a name of fans there?
um okay, so I don't want to say the name, but it
No,
starts
don't tell
with
me.
an A. One of the fans, it's a female. Her name starts with an A. Um, and if there was a message for her, and then the other one would be Randy Lynn. Randy Lynn was Aaron's
Well,
first.
don't tell me any of that about Randy Lynn. Who, the one, I got two. For Randy, Spirit is saying that she represented a true love, a pure love, a young love. And I see something like she had eaten and she's laying down or watching or something. She's nearby something like where you sit or lay down. And then I see a picture of him not too far from her. If she could confirm that while she's listening, that would be really great.
She was
And then,
eating what? Because you cut out for a second.
okay, I don't know if she was eating like chicken or something like yeah, something like meat product. I don't know if it was fried or something like that, but that was hours ago because I don't know what time frame she is. But he said she has my picture. She always thinks of my picture. She sees my picture.
That might be. I know, okay, so like doing Aaron's documentaries, I met a
Mhm.
variety of people that crossed Aaron's path, but there were a few people that were very genuine, unlike, you know, people we've discussed earlier. And I know he felt a certain type of way about Randy Lynn. There was another person. Actually, wait, there were two. One of them goes by the nickname of PB, I believe PB, and then the other one has the first initial of A. That's all I can say. But
Okay.
those
The one with the one with A, he visits A spiritually. He visits Randy Lynn and And the crazy thing is, Randy Lynn, that's the name of two individuals in one. It's a connection with either someone else in the family. Like they couldn't come up with a name for the individual, but Randy Lynn, not Randy Lee, but that Randy Lynn you said, right? And
yes.
and it has to do with a combo that the name represents several people. It could be the mom and dad or grandmas. I get that for sure, that the name is combined for a reason. And then
Okay.
I'm being told that it was young love. I get young love, enjoyment, and something with school. Like I went to school, but I had to drop out. So there's connections with A, there's something about teaching, helping. I don't know if A was
They
is
were
now a
only friends. They were not like love interests. They were just
no, they
friends.
when he says young love, pure love, meaning you know that like that song puppy love, like
That would have been Randy.
yeah, that's what I'm referencing to, like a young puppy love, like oh, I met Mr. Carter. You get what I'm saying? And but referencing to the name and says has picture or has a total remembrance of him. A has some I don't know if A is a teacher or something in the because I see something about teaching because they're all older now.
Right.
What was then and he's talking about now, them as adults. Okay. And so I see that I don't know Who lives on a farm or near farm area or something in farm life? If it's A or R, can any of them on your side?
A does. A
A?
does.
Okay. So, in other words, referencing to A, he thanks his fans. Don't think that, the people who, because you're psychic and you have them there, you have your portal open. So when you bring them in, like we did today, he visits all these people instant with a smile saying, "Oh, look, they still care and keep my memory alive." And that's what he likes to tell his friends. Thank you. He referenced them to them as friends, not as fans, because this is when he was younger and he was older and they followed him. I get people more from like the Midwest, out in those areas. He had a true following, and he was never able to really acknowledge them, but now he is, with a lot of love. The one that lives in the farmland, I get several in the farmland. I don't know if she has a there's a female spirit on the other side that he says, let let A know that her grandmother on the other side is truly watching over her. And it's
Nice.
like an angel connection.
That's
And who
wonderful.
and is there somebody on there with a C? Because I saw a CA name. There's somebody on there with a CA name.
I mean, there is one of the fans by the name of Camille that
Okay,
emails me all the time.
okay. Camille, he's acknowledging the CA name for sure. And he says that Camille is also trying or tries to give you input, and it's
Yeah.
communication about what you're doing. And he says, tell her she's sweet because when she's connecting with you about him and other things you're doing, he's there listening to this whole conversation.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. The problem is that because the people that were around Aaron, there's some people that feel confident to like make comments in the lives or comments or emails or make their presence known. Like Randy Lynn stands for Aaron and always has, but
Hmm.
other people have been like, you know I don't know why they get scared. I mean, think about it, people. These people who are threatening you, they don't even show their face. Like, they can't even do what I'm doing. They can't go on live and show their face and say who they are because they're
Hmm.
into deceptive, illegal activity and they have something to hide. So it's like, be afraid of what? I'm not afraid of BSB gang stalkers who can't even say who they are or come on a live and show their face. It's like, boo. I'm not afraid of that, but they did scare off a lot of the fans from even talking.
Well, let's put it this way. I am a creepy little medium because I could see things, okay? Like this girl, I asked Aaron, show me something really quick that will connect to her. He said the farmland. We're out in the farm. And with Randy Lynn, it was something about her name. The name is a connection of two, probably two lovers. But she is an avid follower of things. She wants to know also. And Camille is, he says, CA, me wanting to go fast with it to say she communicates with you, you go into in depth, wants to know what have you found, look here, look there, because you reach out to a lot of people. What do you feel? What do you say? What did you think? Um, you're not asking for public approval because you already know the info that you have. See, and you're such an intuitive and a good psychic that the spirit, Aaron and Monique and others, you want to work on something else, something's coming in with that, are going to connect with you. You have to continue your show and to bring light to the ones that cannot speak from the grave. Aaron, you are literally talking for him and expressing how he died because he doesn't want to be a disappointment. He didn't want to be a disappointment. He wanted to be a singer, actor, dancer. He wanted to be like his brother. He wanted mentorship. But what he got was, excuse my French, shit. He was a victim, a tiny little boy who became a victim from his own family.
Yeah, I know.
And and Justin Bieber, you know, when I heard that song he put out, I cried. Where, if you had it all and no one,
Lonely.
I'm lonely. When he sang, when I heard these words, I'm lonely, that one, I replayed that part so many times. I just going back, back, back. And all I kept hearing was, I needed help. No one's there to protect me. I don't know how to stop. I can't even have a decent life. He tried to have a decent life, but he couldn't because they were manipulating him. And I'm going to tell you what they also do. The photos and the videos that Diddy has or whoever has, it was a form of extortion. So when
Mhm.
you get that 100,000, you got to pass me 20, 40,000 because I put you up there, but I'm going to take you down because if you don't, I got this to show things about you. They were manipulated. Young people being manipulated to the point that they had no choice. And the only way out was to rebel. That's why they turn to drugs, alcohol. They do things to themselves. You see them when they first begin singing, you see the purity in them, and people enjoy, like Justin Bieber, this little kid, and here's Usher, oh, this and that, and finds this young little pure white boy singing on the streets or wherever he was singing and says, I'm going to make you a star. But to be a star, these are the things, are the rules of this game. And some will take it. Some would take it and say, okay, for fame, for money, the parents would say, okay, I'm going to sell my son to you. I'm going to let my son hang with you. Michael Jackson, okay? I'm pretty sure he's suffering in the place that he's at. Do I see him on the other side? Yes. The side that I think? No. Why? Because there was abuse. And no one can tell me that there wasn't. Okay?
Yeah. No,
Look in
I've
my face and tell me to my face. Okay? There wasn't. Because I could come out with spirit and spirit doesn't.
so during the time that I was compiling evidence for Aaron's documentary, I had to turn kitty corn photos to the feds that I believe came from his manager Lori Knight. And so, like, one of the things that I don't understand is how this manager was able to get away with what she was getting away with for so long. And, like, really, what's going to happen to her? Like, does he know?
Yes. And like he said, you got the head of the snake already in custody.
Hmm.
It's going to get chopped off. And once you cut the head of the snake, the rest dies and falls. But you only got one big snake.
Yeah.
there's other big snakes out there.
Yeah.
And there's a female artist, okay? I can't say her name, but unfortunately, let's put it this way, rocks will turn into stones. And if you could read through those lines, and not the stones that you could buy in a jewelry store, I mean cobblestones that are on the ground. Can you think of the name? Say it.
Rocks that will turn into stones?
Meaning, what do I have? I have rocks, and I got them from where? Maybe look at your audience. Maybe they could tell you who I'm talking about.
Um, let me see. I
This-
got I don't know. Nobody's said anything.
Okay. Well, if you could put
Like
that
a J
together.
Lo, like a J Lo. Okay. So she's getting her karma because I don't know if you've seen her. She lost her marriage. She lost her house. She lost her concert. She's, you know what I'm saying? Like it's only going downhill from there. You know
How
what I
long
mean?
has Aaron Carter been passed?
Okay, so it'll be 2 years, November 4th.
2 years on November 4th? I'm going to tell you something. What do I tell people? Everything comes in threes.
Threes.
And for his death, Diddy's coming down, but we don't know the sentencing, so it could be in 3 years. So within 3 years, I always say within 3 years, 3 weeks, 3 months, karma's and spirit will manipulate the system. And what we wanted today, spirit says, hold on. Because see, they haven't chopped off the head of the snake. He has the ability to move things still. They could be behind bars and they're moving things.
Yep.
But you know, once they're trapped in a cage like a bird, what do? They sing, sing, sing. And with them singing, the more they're bringing, and the more the cuffs go on people. You see, the FBI, because I can't say something, but all I can tell you is the FBI and law enforcement, they can tell you know if there's an ongoing investigation, but they cannot affirm or deny. You're going to hear that a lot, a lot.
Well, I was told that they already investigated Jay-Z's house.
Hmm.
He's going to be another one that I'm sure they can't confirm or deny, but I from my understanding they've already been to his place.
So look, they're knocking on doors, but
Right.
they have to get federal search warrants. What I understand are not easy to ascertain.
They're
They
not.
can't go to a judge on pure gossip and
Right.
innuendo.
Right.
So, if they know a crime was committed by an individual, they have to have the surety that it was committed. They have to follow through on all avenues before they go take that paper to a judge to sign.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, somebody could snitch on them or somebody will tell them. Like I said, a lot of these guys have police officers posing or being their security guard because they could carry a gun. And they're going to keep their mouths closed because they're getting paid more than what they do in their day job.
Right.
A lot of police officers moonlight as guards,
Yep.
guarding this and that. Oh, who do you work for? Oh, I'm working with this security company. And you look to see who's the owner of the security company, a name of a cop.
Right.
And I know that firsthand. So, all I can tell you, Stella, that keep on your work, keep on your writing. I'm welcome to join anytime.
Thank you
Just let
so
me know.
much. Thank you
And
so much.
and you know what? I tell everybody, watch the real news to really understand what's going on. And you know where the real news is? The hood, because they know they know what Diddy is all about. If you see on TikTok, there's a lot of people saying, I'm glad he's going down. I'm glad because, see, they knew. But the Latinos, the whites, the other ethnic backgrounds, they didn't know. All they do is glorify what they sing and do, but they don't really know what they're about. They call Michael Jackson the king of pop. And all I could think of, poor you, you're on the other side wishing you could be here. There's nothing to praise anymore.
No, and like it's so annoying that they try to reinvent him like he wasn't a like a you know what I mean? Like they try to erase the fact that like about his child molestation allegations and things like that, and it's like that's been there, done that. People are older, people that get older, they're not even into the music like they used to be. You know what I'm saying? Like when I drive, I don't even listen to the radio anymore. After doing Aaron's case, it absolutely just sickens me. And like I just can't anymore with that, you know. And I like YouTube and stuff like that, but I mean, that's why like I was never afraid to like ATM Richie, the person that confessed to killing Aaron Carter. I wanted to interview him, you know, but ultimately, you know, he obviously didn't want me to interview him, but I wasn't afraid. I'm not afraid of that because I know that's part of our society. But like this crap that they put on like 2, 5, and 7, like I haven't even had a TV in years. Don't plan on getting one. But I'm just saying it's like paid programming, people. The truth is out there for the people who want to seek it. And you know, you can obviously believe whatever you want, but you're the problem with Aaron Carter's case is the narrative that they were selling about Aaron Carter wasn't Aaron Carter. You can just watch Aaron
That's
Carter's
what
YouTube
he said.
videos.
That's what he said. He said, it's not me. I didn't want to be a person shamed or my family to be ashamed of me. He was a victim. He was a victim. And victims of sexual abuse, alcohol, any type of drugs, it's not who they are. It's what they did to just get away. And the sexual abuse victimized them even further. And I do a lot of reads for people who have committed suicide. And the saddest thing are the ones that came through and talked about, I committed suicide because I couldn't handle the pain that was here, that no one could cure. And that pain is something we will never understand. We could ask Aaron a million questions, and he's going to say it over and over. I started my life as a joyful little boy, but my innocence was taken away
Yeah.
for the price of fame and glory. And no one listened to me, no psychiatrist. So the bottle was one, and then the drugs. And you meet up with people who are going to show you love. That's the drug, that's the alcohol. And the abuse is what you have to do to ascertain what you really want. But he didn't want that. And to his fans, he wants them to know he didn't want that. He fell victim. And if anybody says that he wasn't, you have to get to reality. You need to see what's out there and what's happening in the streets and what's happening at the jobs and what's happening in the schools. Because let me tell you something, it could be your kid, your brother, your uncle that died because he was victimized, or your daughter, like Monique, who died, went on a venture expecting one thing and found a horror. Innocent woman. Women are made losing every day.
So the person that Monique became friends with, that was a setup.
Yeah,
Okay. That's what I think too. So like she thought she was making friends with somebody new, but that was actually a setup.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why women have to be careful. You know, today's society has changed. It's changed to the point that it's out of control.
Yep.
And like I say, nobody's house is free from problems. Every house in the United States suffers some type of problem dealing with alcoholism, people that are being victimized by abuse, people who are on drugs, because the ones regarding alcohol and drugs, it's about their coping mechanism. They couldn't deal with it. And the ones that are victimized by some type of physical abuse, domestic violence, sexual abuse, they go to the drugs and the alcohol because no one could heal the pain that they're dealing in their mind, which is repeating over and over and over what happened to them, and the doctors can't get to the root cause of it. So that's why you see high crimes on children, young people committing suicide. Fentanyl is going crazy. I call it fast killer. It takes you down in a minute. And the pedophiles are getting bigger and bigger, and all sex from Washington D.C. all the way down to the simple job as a janitor or even lower, whatever job, they're there. They're lying in wait. Evil lies and wait. And we have to be strong. You're strong willed. You've overcome a lot of things. Your dad overcome a lot of things. Your listeners have overcome. But I say it's not about overcoming, it's literally protecting yourself from the evil that lurks to come get you because it takes your weakness.
I know, and it's like you have to you have to do a story like Aaron's to realize that there's people that are demonic, okay, with no souls, okay, Melanie, that run around the earth and they attach. So like Melanie had no soul, and Erin, being of the light, she just wanted to suck that out of him because she didn't have anything good. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, she was like, oh, you know what I mean? So, like, she sucked onto Erin like an energy vampire and just basically until there was nothing left. Okay. And then even
Mhm.
after he was dead, she still sucked onto whatever else she could. And like the best takeaway from tonight was that he said that he was embarrassed by her. And I completely agree with that statement. She is embarrassing to Aaron Carter.
All the way.
10,000%.
You
All
know
the
what, right
way.
now? You said that, and I just heard a big laugh, and I wanted to laugh with him, like, oh, yes, high five, high five. You, you got it so darn right. I wanted to say the other word, but I got the Saints behind me, so I got to pay. But I got to be good. But you know what? I hope your fans enjoyed this time. It was good to see you. Well, I this is the first time I've actually seen you, but you look actually I've never seen you.
No, no.
This is the
You
first
might have seen
time.
a picture of me and Cupid.
Yeah, no, in your book.
Oh, yeah, Shattered Windows.
Yes, your book. Very, very good. I want a movie. I want a movie.
You said they're going to make a movie about my life.
Yeah. It has to be that. And if anybody, you got to promote that book. Show it up. It's a, oh my God.
The Shattered Windows,
Yeah. And then where's your sequel?
Hush Money. Hush
Hush
Money, I
Money.
only made an ebook. I
Yeah.
didn't make a
I
paperback because
told
of
my,
climate change.
because people think, oh, I do this as a living full time. She knows I have a full time job,
No,
and
she does.
I have a full time job that keeps me from doing this. People say, let go of that job. You make more money in here. Trust me, I barely make money from this, and it's not about this. But where's it? There you go.
This is a hardcover. This is like an author's copy, but
Yeah.
Shattered Windows. This
Look
is.
at you, so sexy on that photo.
I hate getting older, but you know what? I still look good for my age. I still look good for my age. But
No, you
Shattered
look.
Windows.
No, I'm much older than you, sweetie. Much older than you.
But we're gonna live for a very long time because we're
May
serving a
God hear
purpose
you.
down here on
Yeah.
Earth. And I
You
do
got to keep
appreciate.
up the work you're doing. You have to. You're not telling a story. You're telling facts. That's the difference. So when they say on TV, this is the story of, no, that's scripted. This is the facts of what's been attained through the hard work and dedication to a person who didn't collect a dime doing all of this time.
Right. They think they think that like I did Aaron's. Well, it's their narrative. I guess that's what they have to try to do to justify their actions. Like I made millions of dollars off of Aaron Carter, and it's like, no, I did what I did for Aaron because to me he was a kid and he had nobody to stick up for him, and nobody else stepped up to the plate. And no, the people who want to go ahead and say whatever they want, what did you do? Nothing. You have no life, you have nothing going on, no talent. That's why you talk about me. There's people that spend their entire day thinking about me, calling my phone. They have no life, no talent. They're so obsessed with me. It's like, could you imagine if you were to pour just a little bit of that energy into yourself, what you could become? But they're not my problem. I liked helping out Aaron. I like still working like with people in regards to, I was not every day with Aaron, it's a different story. I was not expecting the videotape with the P Diddy thing. That hit me today and I was like, every time I think Aaron's case is going this way, boom, it goes that way. You know what I mean? And like
Mhm.
my biggest concern, is basically just like, because people are like, how can these murderers walk around or like how could Melanie go ahead and just completely steal everything out of his house, but she had to put it back, okay? And like when I heard that his mom was going to end up with his estate and like I was happy because I was like, look, if it wasn't for me, if it wasn't for the fans, she wouldn't have been in a better position. She's in a bad spot because she's lost so many of her kids, and I know money doesn't make isn't going to make everything better, but it's better off in Jane's hands, his mom's hands, than that prostitute. You know what I'm saying? With that illegitimate kid that she's trying to pass off as his kid. So I'm saying, you know what? I look forward to helping other families, find their missing loved ones and things like that. And Linda, thank you so much for doing this tonight. I so appreciate you. I know everybody enjoyed you. I put your information, how you can be contacted, in the
Thank you.
description, and I will go on TikTok right after this and follow you. I didn't want to do it beforehand because I didn't want
Yeah, I'm
people to
trying to
say,
reach to 10,000 followers as much as I can. My problem is I would like to do lives, but because I read so fast and then a lot of people want a read, My problem is that I don't have a moderator to step in and get a list going for me to say who's next. And I rely on two people, and they also have full-time jobs. But I'm supposed to be doing a live, I believe, probably tomorrow or next week. But either way, Stella, God bless you.
Thank you. Good night. Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you. How do I click out X?
Yep, X.
Okay, night.
Good night.